Welcome back to the WiseGOLD channel. Recently, I had a conversation with a friend about how she felt her children were gradually becoming distant from her. It caught me off guard as I recalled that the last time my son and I had a conversation was over 3 weeks ago. While it doesn't seem too serious, we haven't had any conflicts, it's simply that we share less with each other nowadays. I started reading through various forums to understand more. As we age, the relationship between parents and their children can become strained for various reasons. If this tension isn't addressed, it can lead to emotional distance, one of the most painful experiences parents may face in their later years. This isn't an uncommon situation, and if you find yourself in a similar position, don't worry too much. There are ways to work through it, and we have a supportive community to lean on. I'm certainly not an expert, but today, I'd like to share with you some approaches to overcoming this difficult hurdle, things I've gathered after 3 straight days of reading and reading the experiences of older people who have been through this themselves. 1. Start with self-reflection and healing. Before trying to reconnect with distant children, the most important step is to focus on healing yourself. Self-reflection can help uncover unresolved emotions and bring clarity. We may feel hurt, disappointed, or even betrayed, but if we don't address those feelings within ourselves, it will be harder to approach our children with compassion. A man in his 70s shared on a family therapy forum that after years of blaming his son for the distance between them, he decided to seek counseling. Through this process, he realized that much of the pain he carried stemmed from unhealed wounds from his own past, which had nothing to do with his son. Once he worked through these emotions, he found a newfound sense of inner peace. Famed author Louise Hay once said, "You've been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving yourself and see what happens." By first addressing our inner world, we lay the foundation for healthier and more empathetic communication with our grown children. 2. Initiate communication gently and without expectations. Once you feel ready, take the first step in communicating, but without placing heavy expectations on the outcome. A heartfelt message expressing love and willingness to reconcile can be powerful. This doesn't mean begging for forgiveness or demanding an explanation. Instead, it's about extending an olive branch with patience and kindness. A woman shared on a senior forum that after years of silence, she sent her estranged daughter a birthday card. The message inside was simple: "I miss you, and I love you." Months later, her daughter responded, and while their relationship wasn't healed overnight, that card became the bridge for future conversations. When starting contact, reconciliation is sure to be a slow process. I was advised not to rush things, but to acknowledge my child's feelings without trying to fix everything right away. 3. Listen without judgment. One of the most crucial steps in healing a relationship is listening, truly listening, without passing judgment or offering advice. Often, distance occurs because grown children feel misunderstood or dismissed. The power of simply hearing your child's feelings and experiences should not be underestimated. A close friend told me about the breakthrough moment in her relationship with her son. After years of conflict and distance, they sat down for coffee, and for the first time, she tried not to interrupt or offer solutions. "I just listened," she said. That conversation opened the door for her son to express himself fully and freely. While they still had much work to do, it was the first time both felt heard. American poet Maya Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Listening with empathy can transform a strained relationship. 4. Acknowledge your role without dwelling on the past. It's important to acknowledge your role in the distance, even if it's painful. There may have been moments where, in hindsight, you could have acted differently. Recognizing that role, however small, shows maturity and a willingness to grow. However, it's equally important not to dwell on the past or constantly rehash it. A woman in her 60s shared on a parenting forum that when she admitted to her son that she had been too controlling during his teenage years, their conversation became lighter. "I apologized for pushing him away, but I didn't keep bringing it up," she said. "We focused on the present and how we could move forward." A simple acknowledgement of your past actions can help heal old wounds. We must ensure that we focus on healing rather than reliving mistakes over and over again. 5. Give them space, but keep the door open. Grown children, especially those who are distant, often need space to work through their own emotions and experiences. While waiting is hard, respecting their need for distance can sometimes be the best way to show love. This doesn't mean disappearing from their lives, but rather respecting their boundaries while gently reminding them that you're always there for them. A retiree I know shared that her son had cut off contact for a few years. Although it broke her heart, she didn't continuously call or email him. Instead, every few months, she sent a short note or card, simply saying she was thinking of him. "I didn't push," she said, "just reminded him I was always here." Eventually, he reached out, and their relationship slowly began to heal. By giving our children space, we respect their needs while keeping the door open for future communication. 6. Release expectations of immediate forgiveness. Rebuilding trust takes time, and it's essential to let go of any expectations of immediate forgiveness. Estrangement often involves layers of hurt that take time to heal. While it's natural to want things to return to how they were, healing is a process that can't be rushed. A father shared on a support forum that his daughter kept her distance for years, despite his efforts to reconnect. At first, he felt frustrated, expecting quick forgiveness. But when he let go of that expectation and focused on their shared moments instead of past pain, their relationship began to improve. As Oprah Winfrey wisely said, "True forgiveness is when you can say, 'Thank you for that experience.'" It's a gradual process that starts with patience and understanding. 7. Avoid unnecessary confrontation or guilt trips. It's easy to fall into the trap of guilt-tripping or making passive comments, especially when we feel hurt. However, confrontation or emotional manipulation rarely leads to reconciliation. We should avoid statements like, "I've done so much for you," or "You'll regret this one day." Such remarks often push grown children further away. Instead, when talking with our children, we should focus on positive emotions and the desire to reconnect. Avoid mentioning past sacrifices or expecting gratitude. A calm, non-judgmental approach will foster a more open and empathetic conversation. An elderly woman recalled that every time she saw her estranged son, she reminded him of all she had done for him over the years. This only made him withdraw further. When she stopped using guilt and began approaching him with more compassion, they started to rebuild their relationship. 8. Seek professional help if needed. If the relationship between you and your children seems too strained to handle alone, seeking professional help can be a valuable step. Family therapy or individual counseling can provide new perspectives and tools to help mend the relationship. Sometimes, having an objective third party can facilitate the healing process. An acquaintance of mine shared that therapy helped her and her son understand each other's viewpoints in ways they hadn't seen before. "We needed an outside perspective to help us stop blaming each other and start healing," she said. Don't hesitate to seek help if needed. Rebuilding family relationships often requires guidance from an experienced professional. 9. Continue living a fulfilling life. While the pain of estrangement is undeniable, it's important to continue living a full and meaningful life. Don't let the distance define your entire existence. We should focus on other relationships, hobbies, and activities that bring us joy. A woman in her 70s, estranged from her daughter, shared that she found solace in volunteering at a local community center. "It gave me purpose again," she said. "Even though my daughter and I weren't speaking, I still felt alive and connected to people." By focusing on our own happiness, we not only improve our mental health, but also set an example of resilience for our children, should they choose to return in the future. Estrangement from adult children is a pain that no parent wishes to endure. But it doesn't have to define the later years of your life. Through self-reflection, compassionate communication, and focusing on healing yourself, there is always hope. The road to reconciliation may be long and uncertain, but by practicing patience, forgiveness, and understanding, you open the path to peace, whether or not your children choose to return. Remember, your life remains full of meaning, and the healing journey begins with you. What are your thoughts on today's video? Please kindly share your opinions with us. As we build a community for those in their golden years, your input truly matters to us.